let's DIY a seed blocker. So instead of planting our seeds in little cells, like this sort of thing, we're just going to do it right here in the tray without the means of a device to make the little the little soil blocks. And I really wanted one, but I couldn't find one secondhand. I wasn't gonna buy one straight up new, and I thought there must be some way for us to figure this out, and I did kind of figure it out. I think I did. So I'm sharing with you what I did, and it's actually pretty simple. And what you're going to need is a bench scraper. This is the bench scraper that I use to make my bread. I use it to scrape up my dough and separate my dough and my pie crusts. This is the very one that I use. So yes, it's stainless steel, it's washable. I suppose you could get one just for doing your seeds, but I probably will not do that. You could also use a piece of sturdy plastic. The important thing is just that it's wide enough. This is 6 inches, just wide enough to do what you need to do. So I'm going to show you real quick how I do it. So I just use potting mix, regular old potting mix from the big box store or wherever you can get it. And this is not just the seed mix, because I was convinced by my friend that I didn't need to do that step. The seed mix does not have any nutrients in it. So that's the idea behind that, is that the seed itself has nutrients for the growth in the first week or what have you. But then at that point, you then either have to fertilize somehow or transplant into potting mix. So why not just start with the potting mix? The seed is not going to make use of the nutrients that are in the potting mix until it's ready to. So this mix comes very, very dry, and you need to wet it. To do the seed blocking, it needs to be pretty wet. Anyway, however you did it, you would need it to be wet. So you can just add a little water to it. I have added a considerable amount of water to this, but as you're working, you might add a little more to keep it pretty nice and wet. It comes with, there are always little bits of sticks and shards of wood in there. That's fine, you can just take them out. I used to think that this stuff would be very muddy before I really got into seed planting, and it's really not. That's why I keep a bowl of water just to rinse my hands off. It rinses off very easily. If I need to answer the phone or something, I just have a rag and some water and it rinses off. So we'll just take the potting mix and fill up this seed tray. This is really the base of the seed tray, but this is what I use. It does not have any holes in it. And go ahead, and you're not going to be able to see the level here, but the level is going to be just about halfway up. The idea with these seed blocks is that the volume of each block is going to be a little more. It will be kind of narrow, but it will be tall. So pressing this in, and I guess with that seed blocking device, it does compress the soil. You press it in very well, and then you pop it out, and it kind of inverts, almost like that machine that you use to put your return address on your envelope. It kind of flips and pops out the soil. And the thing is that we're going to be able to do that just fine using this bench scraper. Now you can use one of those longer trays. Just for the sake of this demonstration, I'm just using this one. So then you have your soil in there. It's pretty well compressed. I'm going to divide it in half. And the purpose of this is to we need an actual trench there. You could just scatter your seeds, and in some of my seed starting, I have done that. I've just taken a tray of some sort and just scattered seeds on top. But there are some seeds that have delicate roots and they don't take transplanting super well. And so this is a good method to use for that. I'm going to divide each one of these into thirds and make myself little blocks by going, first I did half in one direction and then thirds, and I'm going to do half in the other direction. This is a lot like cutting up brownies carefully so that no child feels that he has not gotten an equal size brownie to the others. I think moms get very skilled at dividing things up very well. Certainly when you bake a lot, you get good at dividing things evenly, I think. So you're just eyeballing it. The seeds don't know how neat a job you've done with this, and it's gonna be just fine. So we're gonna do that, and there they are, each little square divided from the other, and you can continue to make your little divisions as neatly as you want. The idea with seed blocking is that when the seed grows its roots, the roots will encounter the air in the division there and will stop growing, versus when they are in a packet like this, one of these cell trays, when the roots, the seedling grows its roots, the roots hit the walls and then continue to grow and grow around in circles. And so apparently that's not as good for your seedlings as if those roots meet the air and then basically stop growing and send a message to the plant to put its energy into growing upwards. So that really is it. Oh, I have to show you how. So when you use that device, it automatically, in the mold that it's in, it automatically makes a little divot in each one of these little cells. And you can do that with your finger. You can also take something, this is my steel for sharpening knives, and the back of it, that's about the size of the hole that is made using that, or it's not a hole, it's a divot. When you use the device, the idea is just you don't want the seed to roll off of the cell and fall into the trough. That would be annoying. And since you can make these little cells any size you want, you're not limited by the size of that device. You might want to use something smaller, also for very small seeds, or ones that you actually don't want to go down. Some seeds need to be up near the surface, and so you can just use a pencil or some other thing, a dowel, and just make a little hole in that manner, that way. And you just go through, I did some with my finger at one point, and you just go through and do them all, and then be ready to plant. I have a packet of cilantro here. These seeds are big enough for you to see, I think. So we'll just take a seed and we'll just pop it right into that little hole. And that is that. And this whole tray will be planted very quickly. And I have to say that another advantage of doing this is that you do not have to mess with, whoops, I just dropped those there, with those million little packets that the seedling, what do you call these things, the trays, and they are kind of annoying because they get all bent out of shape. And you know, when you're transplanting, I'm just going to put those there for now. When you're transplanting your seedlings, you have to really be a little rough on the roots to get them out. You've got to push and pull them out like this, and some plants don't mind that at all. Some actually are fine with it. Tomatoes don't mind, for sure. But some plants really do not do well with that kind of handling. And so this method makes it so that you can just scoop out the plant and not damage the roots. The roots have already stopped themselves from going, so you're not disturbing the roots. So what I was going to say is that this system makes it so that it's a lot more frugal too, because all you need is these trays, or as you can see here, I already planted some things that are coming up. This is borage and this is hyssop, and I did it in just a recycling. This is one of those salad containers, you know, when you buy the little salad greens, and I used a hot tool, soldering iron tool, just to make holes all around towards the base of this, and then it sits in another tray. That way I can, it will drain, and these have sprouted very nicely. This one, there's a seed there that didn't sprout, or maybe I didn't get one in there, but look how nicely those are growing. That's the borage, and this is the hyssop. And so this didn't cost me anything other than for the potting soil and the seeds. So that's pretty thrifty, and it's also a lot neater. At the end of the season, I can throw this away, I can stack these up, and I do not have to deal with these, which I have in different sizes, and so then it's a question of stacking them up in their proper sizes, and then they are this annoying plastic that I just don't like to touch. And so those are the benefits of doing it this way. This tray does not have holes. And when you seed block, this is normally how you do it. This one I would bottom water and spray, and that's how those keep nice and moist. This one, it's nice because all I have to do is just very gently water it, and they will stay moist, and that is gonna make it so that these will grow fine. If I find that I do need to put holes in, I can do that along the side pretty easily, the way I did here with that soldering iron. You say I didn't actually put the holes in the bottom, I put the holes in the side, and then it sits in water, and the water goes in there by capillary action. I can do that, but I think this is going to be fine, and when you read up about seed blocking, this is how they do it. So I think this is a thrifty way without investing however much those seed blocker devices cost, because I'm not planting an entire greenhouse of seeds. I just have my little seed bench, and I'm going to do just fine with my bench scraper and my little tray. So hopefully that gives you the idea of my DIY seed blocking.